I'd like to follow up on Mr. Props's kind of line of questioning because it's something that's been kind of weighing on me. Obviously, we want better, faster, cheaper for our veterans, quality being the most important. Obviously, we want timely care, but it's got to be good care. And Mr. London, you're just talking about the accuracy of DBQs. Across the 4 different vendors, is there any, and Ms. Carter, you probably can speak to this too with some of the procedures you were lining out, but are we looking at, how do we know that a veteran's getting the same shake depending on the veteran or the vendor that they're using? Is there consistency across there, and do we know, can we prove it?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. So our standard per the contract is to at least have 96% quality for the DBQs. And so as I mentioned, the program aggregate number is almost 97%.
But how do you define quality?
Sure, so it's essentially, as I mentioned, looking at the DBQ instructions based on the specific claimed condition, we are actually assessing that the provider completed that DBQ per the instructions, looked at all the evidence of record, followed all of the procedures that it needed to make sure that that report was accurate so that the claims processor can use that for rating purposes.
So when we're talking about looking at all the evidence that's available, my understanding is now a lot of these 4 vendors are leaning on outsourced artificial intelligence to help them assess a veteran's files. Is that accurate, to go through all the documentation there to expedite the process? How is AI being used in this?
Sure, thank you for the question. VA provides the vendor with the entire claims folder for every single veteran, and that also includes any tabulations or bookmarks that the claims processor actually used when they've reviewed the file. So the vendors have access to that. What you're referring to is on top of that, they're utilizing technology to organize the file to further enhance it so that the provider, when they're sitting down to complete the DBQ, will have that information available as well as the entire file that they can also refer to complete the DBQ.
But would it be safe to say with metrics and they're being judged and bonused and everything on how basically output, it seems to me it's going to be human nature that they're going to rely more on that more on the AI to expedite rather than go through the whole file if they've got artificial intelligence that's already provided them a summary. I guess, I'm concerned that, rephrase it, are you confident that if you gave the same file to the 4 different vendors, that they're going to end up giving that person making that final determination the exact same data with which to make that determination?
Thank you very much for the question. First, the entire e-folder that we give is searchable by the provider, and a lot of the technology that the vendors are using is enhanced searching capabilities. So it's not just a summary, it allows the provider to access the information that is included in the record that VA provides. So it's really making the search more efficient for the provider who's completing the DBQ that has to review the medical record.
Do you have the same level of oversight or eyes on with the technology that they're using as maybe VA claims processors use when they're using AI to help make a claims determination? Or is it sort of, because what I hear a lot of times from the vendors is, it's proprietary, we don't want to share what we're doing, but are you confident that you know what's under the hood making those decisions?
Sure, so we have, in many cases, we have access to vendor portals so we can see the information and what they're seeing. And I mentioned in my remarks and in my written testimony as well that we conduct corporate site visits, so that's a time to go into their secure facilities and actually see their systems firsthand and to actually see what each part of the process, what's happening. So we have assurance that the information is getting to the providers.
Great, thank you. Mr.